Electrolysis, what is it and how does it work? Electrolysis is a fantastic treatment for the permanent removal of hair. Now you may be wondering which is the best method of hair removal for you. And it's always really difficult to decide, I think, for yourself. So when you actually embark on a hair removal program with us, we will obviously do a thorough consultation and just ascertain your goals and discuss with you what we feel is then the best method of hair removal to ultimately achieve the results that you're looking for. So let's talk about how it works a little bit. So electrolysis works by inserting a very fine needle into the hair follicle, applying a current and then removing that hair. Sadly, it doesn't only just need one treatment, however, because there's lots of factors that we have to bring into play when we're actually treating hair with any method of hair removal. And that depends on what stage of hair growth it is, how much hair you've got, and lots of other factors that we need to consider. But let's just talk about some of the frequently asked questions that we get. So one of those is obviously, how painful is it? And that's a big question that people are obviously always concerned about when they come in for any method of hair removal. How painful is it going to be? We have the best machines for electrolysis. I've spent over 30 years in this industry, have researched what is needed, and our Apidus machines are just the gold standard in electrolysis hair removal. So with this, because they're so precise in the amount of current that it delivers, because it's computerized, it makes it a much more comfortable experience for the client and also much more effective. You'll need less treatments and it's much more comfortable with less irritation. That's always got to be a win-win for everybody, hasn't it, really? So yeah, it is just brilliant. So yeah, you are going to feel a bit of discomfort, and it is going to depend on the area that we're treating. For example, the upper lip is a little bit more sensitive than the chin. And we will try and work it within your threshold as much as obviously we possibly can. And we'll do short treatments and longer treatments if you can tolerate it, and if you need it. You know, again, length of treatment will just depend on you and what we need to do to get the results within your treatment plan. But no, you'll find that actually it's much more comfortable than what you think it's going to be. Is it permanent? That's another question. And we sort of touched on this earlier. And yes, it really, really can be. However, obviously what we can't do is influence what hormones do in the future. So what we may be able to kill off today, you may get some new hairs growing in the future down to influence by hormonal changes that influence hair growth. So the menopause, things like that. And as you know, as we get a slight imbalance, it could bring on new hair that wasn't there before. We have millions of redundant follicles in the skin. So, you know, all our pores really are follicles. So it's just if something stimulates one of those to actually produce hair. Okay. So, and can it damage the skin or cause any scarring is another big question. Not in the right hands. And it really comes down to the user, and also making sure that you follow the right aftercare advice as well. You know, if you did get a little scab, which you shouldn't really, but if you did, don't pick it. That would just be, any scab that you pick off you could potentially cause scarring. But it's about making sure that we're delivering a really correct amount of current into your skin and that we're not causing too much irritation. And again, having done it for over 30 years and my team having been really well experienced in electrolysis, then we really shouldn't be causing you any scarring at all. So no, that's not going to happen. How many treatments will I need and how frequently? And again, this comes down to how much hair you've got. So for example, if you're plucking your hairs out nearly every day, then you're really going to need treatment once or twice a week, because one of the things I'll say to you is once you start treatment with electrolysis, what you can't do is pluck your hairs out. It's really important to note that, because you will interfere with the process. So if you really are thinking of electrolysis as a treatment option going forwards, then make sure that you're in the mindset and in the right place to say, I will stop plucking my hairs, because if you don't, it's just going to be a complete waste of time. So, and if you're actually in that process where you feel that you can't leave the hairs for very long, then you need to be in more frequently having a treatment, and even if that's just a short treatment, just to keep them at bay and just to make sure that you feel really confident. Now you can cut the hairs back with some scissors or, you know, something like that, or even shave them off if need be, but you just can't pluck them out from the root, because that really will interfere with what we're doing. In terms of how many treatments, again, it's a little bit how long is a piece of string. It's going to depend on many factors, is how often you are coming in and having those hairs treated. It's going to depend on your hormones and how much time you give it. So what I say to people is it's going to progressively get better and better when you're having treatment. So at the beginning you could be in having treatment done twice a week, and then you may be a few months down the line, you may still be coming for treatment, but you may just be coming every 3 or 4 weeks just for a 10-minute tidy up. And also because new hairs may grow because of those hormonal influences that I was talking about earlier. So it says, well, so one of the other questions I've got is, when should I come in for my electrolysis treatment? And again, you know, this is again what I've just been talking about. Just depends on how we need to manage those hairs and what aftercare is needed. Aftercare is really, really straightforward. Don't use any heat on it for the first 24 hours. Don't use strong creams on it. Just use the creams that we provide. Your skin might feel a little bit sensitized, so you don't want to put any more heat on it. You just don't want to put anything that's perfumed, anything that's just going to irritate the skin. Just keep well alone. Just let it calm down for 24 hours. But you're fine within honestly an hour or two. You won't even notice any redness. It'll go really quickly, but the skin could be sensitized afterwards. So are you actually thinking about electrolysis as a method of hair removal for yourself? Please do come in and speak to one of our specialised team. They'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you've got and help you with this. It is such a personal journey, but one I know that you'll be really grateful to start if that's something that you want to do, because it's just such an amazing treatment that we achieve great success with.